Hi y'all, Connie here. I am back for shipment number 5 of 9 of the Tristan and Isolde Yarn Club. Can you believe that we're over halfway there already? Before we take a look and see what's in this bag though, I want to show you real quick what I made, what I've started making. It's just the first part with the yarn from last month's shipment. It was called Brain Gain, and it's Love Potion, which is a not quite red, just gorgeous yarn. And y'all, this is like working with butter. I loved crocheting this. Push this out of the way. This is the pretty little square that I made with Brain Gain from last month's shipment. And I'm going to make lots more of them, and I'm going to turn them into at least a scarf, if not maybe more than that. You'll have to stay tuned to see what I do with more squares and possibly more yarn with this pattern. The true test now is to hang it and let it finish blocking. So I blocked it out. It blocked beautifully, but now we have to see if it's going to get all stretched out of shape, or if I've got enough post stitches in here to act as suspenders to keep it all in shape, because it's that really droopy alpaca yarn, if you remember from last month. But it's just, I love the way it worked up, and it was so nice to work with, seriously. This might be my new favorite yarn. So hopefully there will be more to see of this soon, but until then, we will leave it there and we will take a look at what's in here. Okay, so we have our little bag and our little sheet. Let's take a quick look, even though she's gonna tell me to look in the bag before I read any further. I know she will. Yeah, halfway mark. It is. I can't believe it. I'm kind of sad about it, actually. I've been having a lot of fun with this. So, reminder, check out the crochet along / knit along thread in the Ravelry group. Yep, there it is. Open the bag and take a look. So let's do that. I'm going to set this over here for now. And let's take a peek. Ooh, tough. All right. Oh, cool. This is cool. Ooh. Now this is different from anything that I've gotten from Karen so far. Ooh. All right. This base is called Mark, and it is an 85% superwash merino and 15% Donegal Nep. Whoa, I might have butchered that. Sorry if I did. And it is called Doubt and Suspicion. Look at those fun little black specks in this. Can you see that? So pretty, y'all. Maybe pretty's not the right word, but this is fun. I like this. This is different from anything that we've gotten from her before. Let's see what she says about it. All right, This yarn base is something different in many ways from what I normally pick. It's the thickest yarn you'll be getting. Aran weight is just a little thicker than worsted, and it's often referred to as heavy worsted. And it has a wonderful addition to the fiber content called NEP, which is a dye-resistant nylon fiber. That's the gray or black specks that you see in the yarn. Most of the yarn she dyes starts out as an off-white color, which doesn't really affect the dye color. This yarn base started out a light gray, which mutes any color added to it. So she dyed the yarn a mustard yellow, which was further muted into more of a golden brown because of the base yarn color. She says, I thought the color shift was quite appropriate for the name of this month's color and for the theme for the story. Yeah, it is. Doubt and Suspicion. So, she also says, for this month's goodie, I'm going to peek. Pull these out. Oh, cool. Knitter's safety pins. There she goes with the knitting again. Oh, man. That's okay. I can use these too. Knitter's safety pins. Hiya. Cool. Look. For this month's goodie, I wanted to send this set of stitch markers. Last time you got a special stitch marker from Ann Tudor, which was really, really nice. But sometimes you just need some stitch markers that are a bit more utilitarian, and that's where these come in. Okay, so that's fun. I like those. There are several of them in there. All right, now let's get to the story. Doubt and Suspicion, Part A. For a while, Tristan and Isolde are able to keep their love affair secret, but others within the court start to see clues about their relationship and hope to use the possibility of the affair to discredit Tristan, because they are still jealous of his influence on Mark, of course. Mark refuses to believe the rumors until he has sufficient proof, so several of the men try to catch Tristan and Isolde so they can show Mark that proof. This results in a dangerous time for the lovers, who are unable to keep away from one another. Mark decides to lay a trap and tells Isolde he will be leaving on a pilgrimage. He asks her who should stay behind to protect her while he is gone. Isolde immediately asks for Tristan, which raises Mark's suspicions. Imagine that. When Isolde later tells Brangane about this conversation, Brangane helps Isolde with what to say to belie any connection to Tristan in future conversations with the king. Following Brangane's instructions, Isolde is able to remove some of Mark's doubt, but when Isolde goes off script, Mark once again suspects the two lovers. He remains in this state of limbo for a long time. Tristan and Isolde vow to be even more careful with their meetings, and with Brangane's help, they devise a plan. If Tristan determines it is safe time for meeting, he will take a twig and engrave one side with a T and the other with an I, and send that twig down a small brook that passes by the lady's window. If Isolde spies the twig, she will know it is safe for them to meet for a short time under a designated tree. Wow, that's complicated. This works for a while, but one day someone in the court discovers the plan and tells Mark about it. The two of them go to the tree and climb it so that they can be unobserved witnesses to the meeting between Tristan and Isolde. Fortunately for the lovers, Tristan sees the shadows of the two men in the tree before Isolde arrives. Knowing they are being watched, Tristan is able to convey this to Isolde by not running to embrace her when she arrives. They stand far apart from one another and hold a tense conversation about the, according to them, untrue rumors that have been spreading throughout the court about them and what they should do about them to ease Mark's mind and renew their reputations. When Mark hears this conversation, he shakes off all his doubts and suspicions and declares his full support for the innocence of his nephew and his wife. How good of him. Tristan and Isolde are not safe, however, as several members of the court continue to try to find evidence to take to Mark. They set up another trap, shaking flour out around Isolde's bed one night while she is sleeping, so if Tristan were to come to her bed, his footprints would be evidence. Brangane notices the flour and warns Tristan. Instead of deciding not to go to Isolde that night, which would be the smart thing to do, Tristan sets off for the bed with a flying leap to pass over the flour and leave it unmarred. But he injures himself on the bed and bleeds on the sheets before returning to his own bed. When Mark returns, he finds the flour undisturbed and is comforted, but then he notices the blood. Isolde tries to explain it away as coming from a wound she herself suffered, but when Mark checks Tristan's bed, he notices blood on Tristan's sheets. Dun dun dun! I'm gonna make that noise every single time, by the way. Not yet ready to fully admit to this evidence, Mark decides Isolde needs to go through an ordeal to prove her innocence. He calls her into court, and it is determined that in 6 weeks in Carleon she will go through the ordeal of the red-hot iron. Tristan has left the court by this point, and Isolde writes to him to share what has happened as well as the plan she has. When Isolde arrives in Carleon, she prepares to get off the ship. She spies a roughly dressed pilgrim by the shore and proclaims that she wants to be carried to the shore by the pilgrim rather than one of the knights. Considering her circumstances, she is averse to being carried by a knight at this time. I think I would be averse to being carried at any time. Oh well. The pilgrim carries her, but just as they reach shore, he stumbles and the two of them fall to the ground, with him on top of her and her arms around him. Isolde laughs at the situation, saying that now she cannot lawfully say no other man has found his way into her arms or been found in a compromising position with her. Have you guessed it? The pilgrim is Tristan in disguise. When Isolde pledges her oath, she says, "No man in the world had carnal knowledge of me or lay in my arms or beside me but you, always excepting the poor pilgrim whom, with your own eyes, you saw lying in my arms." When she takes hold of the red-hot iron, she is not burned, because, after all, her oath is quite truthful, and Mark once more thinks she is innocent. Will Tristan return to court? Will the lovers renew their affair? I don't even have a comment on that. What bunk? Red hot iron indeed. Okay then. All right. Doubt and suspicion. Yes, indeed. Okay. So the yarn. I like the yarn a lot more than the story. Cool. All right. These black flecks. I'm thinking like a big, bold button. Maybe a cowl with a fun button. I know I just did a cowl, but I only have one skein, so I can't do a whole lot. Or a hat. No, I don't really want to do a hat. I want to do a cowl. I want this to be around my neck with a big, bold button. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to have to play with it. She said to use simple stitches to really let the yarn shine. So we'll see if I can resist getting fancy. Wish me luck. I'll see you next time. Bye.